heat, no filter in sight. Jason's got the insights, always gets it right. Shon's the wild card with a laugh in the night. On FolkLOOR, they banter about the latest fight. FolkLOOR podcast, stories non-stop. Entertainment, gossip, and tech's new crop. Loud opinions, like a punk rock bop. Marcus, Jason, Shon, they never drop. Streaming wars and startup dreams. Jason,
Let's see that awesome fade out.
Here we go.
Huh? I did it again.
Yeah.
So, welcome back to another episode of the FolkLOOR podcast. I'm Marcus Pittman. I'm here with Shon and Jason Farley. We're excited to have you guys. And now we'll begin to fade out. There we go. See?
That's nice.
Ooh, that was the smoothest yet.
I'm
silky
getting better.
smooth.
There we go. There's a good fade out.
Yeah.
The opening was rough though. See, it's one or the other.
Yeah, you can't have everything. I learned that from the Rolling Stones early on in my life, and it's held true.
Yeah.
What else did you learn from the Rolling Stones? Hacksaw.
That wild horses can't drag you away from true love. I mean, that's
Yeah, Victor
deep
says
stuff.
our thumbnail looks like us today. So that's fantastic. If you guys are just tuning in, today we're going to have very soon a very special guest, Jill Schulz, the daughter of the one and only Charles Schulz, the creator of Peanuts, Snoopy, Charlie Brown, all those amazing comic book characters. Just tremendous work, and we'll get to talk to her about her father's legacy, and really excited about that. And then and she's also doing we'll let her talk about the zombie show,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Oh, you
but
gave
yeah,
it away.
so, I know I'm giving it away, but but yeah, so real quick, I know it said entertainment news in the beginning of the show. I looked, there wasn't a lot. However, I will say it's probably worth talking about maybe on another show, but at least because it was announced today, Babylon Bee released their comedy streaming platform called B-, which I think is funny because everybody's
Great name.
B-, and they said it's launched with just enough content to make you forget you have a subscription. So I guess that's the big entertainment news today is Babylon Bee. Jason, first thoughts on that?
I hope that it's good. They've been continually a pleasant surprise, and we need more comedy in the world. So
Way
I
more
hope they
comedy
nail
in
it.
the world. Yeah. So I'm super pumped about that, and for that to be built. So check out Babylon B- is what it's called. So, but yeah. So Shon, did you want to? Oh no, we have to do I hear the music. Do you hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Is it fading in?
Is it fading in or fading out?
Probably not.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It's time for Jason's Trivia Lesson.
All right.
That fade out was on point. That was good.
No option for that one.
All right,
A hard hat
so-
for that one.
I hope this one isn't too long. We'll find out. But everyone knows that I Love Lucy changed television. Everything from creating the multicam sitcom format to establishing reruns and syndication. But it also showed the power of great television. When Lucy Goes to the Hospital, where Lucy goes and has her baby, aired on January 19th, 1953, it really became one of the first true television events in American history. And they carefully orchestrated the timing. So they waited until she actually had her baby in real life, and then they released it on the same day. so that the birth date of the real child and the birth date of the character child would be the same. So the fictional Lucy delivered little Ricky, and it drew 44 million viewers, smashing every record of total viewership. About 72% of all U.S. televisions were on to that show on that time. So, and the next day, the presidential inauguration of Eisenhower didn't even have half the number of viewers. So that episode, in terms of total percentage, has only been surpassed 3 times since 1953. We talked about the final episode of MASH. That was one of them. The question is, what are the other 2 television events that surpassed I Love Lucy having a baby?
Oh,
John, you got a guess?
John, you have a guess?
Me. Season finale of Simon and Simon.
It should have, but unfortunately, no. That's not
wrong.
The answer. Yeah,
you should double, triple check your sources.
I'll triple check. I'll triple check.
Okay, so I'll check that off. Hold on. Let me go back to my sources for the next answer.
Victor appreciated that one, though.
Thank you, Victor.
Any guesses in the chat? What 2 other things surpassed I Love Lucy as television events? So they were both from regular weekly shows, if that helps. And they are both things you've probably heard of. So good morning, chat. Vietnam. The day after, Victor says. Good guess.
Yeah, well, look, why don't we see if our guest knows the answer to it?
Let's do it.
Should we? Wait, did we already intro? We did, yeah.
We did, but I got a clip before we bring her on that you sent me. And then let me pull this up. 1 second.
I can see her there, and he said, "I'll get up." And
overly sensitive, decent
is going to
about it.
me, but I lie in bed some nights, and I can't think of anything, and I can't go to sleep. And as Charlie Brown says, sometimes I lie awake at night and I ask, "Why me?" Then a voice answers, "Nothing personal. Your name just happened to come up."
Occasionally, he'll get stuck trying to refine an idea, but he never asks anyone to help.
Everybody, all my friends know that I never take anybody else's idea, and I never take suggestions. And most of the time, if they say, I got something funny, I say, don't tell me, because if you tell me, I'm not going to use it. It's mine. This is the only thing I can do, so let me do it.
All right, that was from
I love that moment.
One and only Charles Schulz. And so with us now is the daughter of Charles Schulz, Jill Schulz. Jill, thank you for joining the show.
It's great to be here.
First off, I'm very thrilled. As I said to you before the show started, I'm a big fan of Charlie Brown. We used to watch all the cartoons as a kid, me and my family, and I specifically remember several times sitting on the couch with my grandparents, and we would all watch, the show. And then of course, every Sunday, this is I still remember being brought up when the newspaper coming on Sundays was a big deal, and so my grandpa would always have a newspaper, and you'd have actually have comics to look forward to, and I very much remember reading a lot of Peanuts and Charlie Brown every Sunday after church. So really great to have you on here, and I'll let Shon, because Shon has known you for a while. I'll let Shon talk and begin the interview.
Well, thank you. I was thinking about how I was always so impressed by the fact that your dad, he just got up every morning and wrote that strip, and there wasn't the support staff, and it was like he was going to do that every day felt like, no matter what, whether there was a newspaper to print it in or not, it seemed like it was just his calling. And I think as a young guy watching that, and knowing about that, it was really it was inspirational for me. I guess just like that work ethic. And Jill, knowing you for a long time, I feel like that passed on to you. So, yeah, I guess that's a good opener question. Like, as a little kid, did you pick up on that and notice that?
Oh, no, not that I was aware of. But I will say, I think there's 5 kids. I think each of us are so completely different, but whatever we do, we become obsessed in just that, So, like my brother wrote, well, my other brother now works on the Peanuts movies, but before that, it was like motocross and flying airplanes. Mine was skating, rollerblade, and now producing shows. My sister's was having lots of kids. I mean, a lot. But so I think now I don't think we consciously picked up on anything. And people would always ask my dad, so do any of your kids want to take over the comic strip? And he said, no, none of them can even draw. So, but we had no interest and he liked us to do our own thing. So, but he did tell us all the time, you always have to have something to get up in the morning for. It's very important, and go off to work. Of course, that was before people stayed home and worked online, but it was very important to him because the only thing he cared about was drawing the strip. Everything else came along afterwards. And even a lot of people, when he passed away, it was in the news that he retired. And then there was the last Sunday strip. He never retired. He never would have retired. People would always say, so you're successful, you've done all you can do, you've made more money than you can spend, especially because he didn't like to leave home. So why don't you retire and go do what you want to do? And he would always say, why would I retire from something that is the only thing I've ever wanted to do? So that's kind of in a nutshell who he was. So.
I always heard this, I don't know if this is a true rumor, but that it was like 50 years out of the 50 years, he never took a day off, or there was never one day of the strip that he missed, or is that close to true? Or
yeah, I mean, there may have been a day that he missed, whether he, I don't know, went into the city to go see a show, or which wasn't very often. He never missed submitting the strip. His primary allegiance was to the newspapers. Those were the most important over anything, over licensees, merchandising, all of that. He said, I owe everything to the newspapers because they're publishing the strip. So he had to do, I think the Sunday page was 6 weeks out. And then he had to every day, if he knew he was going to miss a few days of being at his desk, he would get ahead. So, so I guess in that respect, no, he never.
Yeah.
He never missed. Yeah, it was every day.
How long did it take to make one comic?
I think it was different all the time. Sometimes I'd go in, say hi to him, and on his drawing board, he'd have like 6 daily strips, and maybe some were done, some weren't. And then other days he would go like, you got any ideas? I don't have an idea. I go, I don't have any ideas. No. So that's your job. So, although
that's
he
cute,
did
though.
he did let us, when we were kids, my sister and I would get the colored pencils, which normally a secretary would do, and color in the Sunday strips before they were sent off to New York to the syndicate. And we always thought that is what got published. And then later we found out, no, he just made us feel good.
Oh, no way.
That's like giving your 5-year-old the controller and make him think that he's playing the video game.
You do that?
Yeah.
But exactly, yeah, it's just like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. He as Charlie Brown became way more successful and way more popular. did he ever have a team that helped him? It was always him doing the comics every Sunday, or I mean every day of the week. Was there ever a time where he had a team that came and helped him, or?
No, that was he was adamant nobody else would ever draw any of the strip at all.
That's amazing.
I think maybe a couple at the very end of his life after he had the stroke, he had I think maybe it was Paige Braddock, who works up in Santa Rosa. I think she helped draw a few because he couldn't really get the drawing, but it was all his ideas. But throughout his entire career, it was very important. He was the only one, and just like the clip you showed, he always said, if you have an idea, don't tell me because I won't use it. That was true. He said that all the time. Yeah.
Right.
That's really interesting.
Although we inspired some ideas. He told us. We didn't give him ideas, but each one of us inspired the ideas. Some of us more than others, a few ideas.
Yeah, well, I read one that Peppermint Patty. There's one clip of Peppermint Patty, and where Peppermint Patty uses the term "a rare gem." Was he referring to you with that?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
And were you Peppermint Patty? Was that based off of you, or was that just in that specific strip he was writing a note to you?
Just in that strip. No, he said people always ask like, who is the character after? Some of the names in the early days, Shermie, Charlie Brown, Violet, Patty, not Peppermint Patty, but Patty, were all people in Minnesota from his childhood. But he said he would never model a character after a person. There was one time, one of his interviews, he said, if you really want to know me, get to know my characters, because he's a little bit, which I would say, I would agree, a little bit of every character. Probably mostly Charlie Brown. Lucy could be my sisters, just not after them directly, but
by the way, you're a much better dresser than Peppermint Patty. I just want you to know.
Thank you. And I don't wear sandals either, so.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. I was curious, what if you were old enough to remember, or if you have any recollection of like once the things went into television specials and then you do have a team and you've got all these people. I wonder what that was like for him to all of a sudden not just be a one-man show drawing everything, that now you've got more of a team. Did you ever get any insights on that?
Yes. Lee Mendelson, who was the producer, and Bill Melendez, the animator. And then he had a couple people, not very many, because it was all the cells. You know, it was all hand drawn up on the storyboards all over the wall, and then the cells and all of that. And then Lee would go to CBS, like the very first show, the Christmas special. Lee was very excited that he sold this show. He got my dad to write it. He sold the show to CBS. They said, we're going to air it prime time for Christmas. And then, except one thing, they said, you've got to take out the line of speech because it's not, that was still the I Love Lucy era with the two different beds, and, everything was very conservative. And they didn't want to take the risk of putting this religious speech in a Peanuts TV show. So Lee Mendelson went back to my dad. He's very excited. He said, except the one thing, you've got to take that out. My dad said, well, then tell him forget it. And so, of course, you can imagine Lee. He's got to go back to CBS and say, if we don't leave it in, he said, forget it. And then
it's one of the most iconic moments in all of television, I think, too, now looking back on it. So
it is. And we have one of our shows we produce at Knott's Berry Farm. It's an ice show. And we did one that was loosely based on the TV show. And we had the Linus character, the costume character, do the Linus speech. And it was in Orange County. And they loved it, standing ovations. Then we did it in the Bay Area, and No, it didn't work. But you could hear a pin drop. Right there too. But as far as a TV show, yes, it's an iconic moment. Yeah.
Wow.
Jason, do you have a question?
Was there ever a comic strip that you read from your dad and said, "Hey, I was there when he had that idea," where because it was based off of something you and your siblings did or said or anything?
Oh yeah, a few. One was we're at a family dinner when we were young, and my sister Amy was I don't know, she was talking too much or something, and everyone told her to quit talking so much, and and so she grabbed a piece of toast and she was buttering her toast, and she looked up and she said, "Am I buttering too loud?" And so he used that. I think it's Lucy in the strip. Yeah. So, and then my brother was coming back from motocross, and he has all the grease on his hands, and he's washing his hands with toothpaste. So that made it into the strip. And the biggest one was my brother's high school project. I think it was Monty. I can't remember if it was Monty or Craig. They would yell at me for not remembering. But the teacher, they had to make a sculpture out of a coat hanger. So they did their best. I mean, that was the only direction. And they got a C-. And so Craig or Monty, I think it might have been Craig actually, came home and showed my dad, I got a C- on my coat hanger sculpture. And my dad's like, "That is the most ridiculous thing. How can you judge a coat hanger sculpture?" And so there was a whole thing. I think it even made it into one of the TV shows as well. One of the animated TV shows, the whole coat hanger sculpture and getting a C. And I can't remember. I think it may have been Linus. I'm not sure. I can't remember for sure which one it was, but one of the characters. So,
oh my God.
And there were a few others, but those come to mind right away.
You just triggered two memories for me, and so I'm going to dork alert right now.
Okay.
But your brothers, I just thought of something. Craig is the first person to teach me how to ride a motorbike, a motorcycle.
Oh, wow.
First term. And Monty introduced me to the very first word video game called Zork. I don't know if any of you guys, if you're real nerds out there, remember Zork? And I can never forget just sitting next to Monty and him walking me through Zork. And that's so funny just talking about this. I just remember those two things. So I have to say kudos to Craig for teaching me how to ride a motorcycle, and Monty for teaching me the world of Zork. if they're listening, they're probably not. They might not be listening today, but
yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing or where they are, but that is funny. I remember that now. I would never have remembered that. But yeah, Monty, he would get so excited about things because, he had his first Apple computer, and that was like,
yeah, that was it. We were doing it on the Apple.
Only one. Yeah. Well, that's probably why he showed it to you, because he was so excited, as if he was the only person to ever have an Apple computer at that point. And when texting came out, he was on it right away. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm texting." I'm like, who is going to want to write everything when you could pick up the phone and call? And now it's like, why won't anyone pick up the phone and talk?
It's so funny. Yeah. He was ahead of he was kind of techie. Like, I think this was like 80, 81. He had one of the early Apple.
Yeah,
that's
which
cool.
Is interesting because he's like a writer, with the, doesn't dress up, his haircut, blah, but he likes the latest, greatest. So
yeah, Victor says Zork is one of the first text adventures I never finished on my Commodore 64.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
I had a Commodore 64 too. Yeah.
Thanks for that message, because I was trying to remember what you call it. It's a text adventure. That's the
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I never played Zork. I only played The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy text adventure.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Which was really fun.
Well, I don't. You're too young for Zork. You wouldn't even have been born yet when Zork was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to finally getting to be 30, but
Yeah,
You know,
that's right. You wouldn't believe this, but Jason's just became a grandpa, and he's the youngest looking
No way.
grandpa.
yeah. In fact, I got to hold her this morning. She was only in town for about 12 hours, but I held her most of the time.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
I love that.
Jill, going back.
Oh, go ahead, Marcus. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, going back to Charles. Did he ever have any relationships with like Johnny Hart or Watterson, Bill Watterson, or any of the Jim Davis, any of the other major comic creators? Was that a tightly knit circle, or was it more? I guess you could say everybody kind of kept themselves and did the work.
No, they all communicated and knew each other, and there was a cartoonist convention every year, and he would always attend that, and he loved, all the, meet and greet party, whatever you want to call it, cocktail party or whatever like that. I mean, he doesn't drink, but nevertheless, he loved like being able to collaborate and talk with everybody. And I remember I went to one, it was in New York, and he was like, I'm going to go tell, it's Jim Davis's Garfield, right? Correct me. I don't want to say the wrong person. Yes. So he goes, I'm going to go tell Jim how, because he draws Garfield wrong. He goes, I'm going to go tell him that how to draw his legs, because the problem is when he makes him stand up, his legs are too long. And some of the other cartoonists and people around my dad looked horrified. They were like, I don't think that's a good idea. And by then he was already off and walking over there to tell him. So I think he did. I decided not to follow him. I've just been like, oh,
that's
well.
hilarious. That is so funny.
Are there any that he held in really high regard or had really close personal friendships with?
There was, but I can't think of who it is offhand now. Yeah, I can't think of it. He also liked to tell, I think it was head of Disney, I think it was Michael Eisenberg at the time, came to Santa Rosa to see an ice show, I think.
Eisner, Michael Eisner.
Michael Eisner, yeah.
What did I say, Eisenhower?
Eisenberg, but you're right. You're in the wheelhouse.
Eisner, Michael Eisner, yes. Normally I say that right. Anyway, close enough. Anyway, so he said, I'm gonna. He liked to, because obviously he didn't get to know Disney, Walt Disney, but he liked to comment on Mickey Mouse, and so he drew those strips. I think he went and maybe gave him a copy or something of the strip of Snoopy wearing Mickey Mouse's shoes, and so he always liked to make tease. But he did originally apply for a job as an animator for Disney, and they turned him down.
They have a history of doing that to the best,
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's an interesting. Is that a widely known story? Is that a insider?
It's not a secret, but it's probably not wildly known, I would say. But it's not a secret. It's not like I mean, people have heard it before. It's probably in the books, the historical anniversary books and all of that.
I have a question for you. It just came to me. What is there a question you get asked by anyone that's the most annoying question? Like, I always like to know, like, what's the question you're like, oh my gosh, you can't believe that person just asked me that.
I probably asked it already.
And I hope we didn't. I hope none of us asked it. I don't think we did. I think we're too cool for that, hopefully.
I think you asked one that was close to it, but not exactly.
Oh,
but
close, but
probably
good.
the most commonly questioned, phrased the way, which you guys phrased it kind of differently, was no, I guess he didn't really ask, was what was it like growing up with your famous dad like Charles Schulz? I'm like, well, I don't know. It was our dad. Like all of us have the same.
You don't know
answer.
anything different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He was our dad first, and then a cartoonist. And also, when we were little, all the merchandise was just beginning, so he wasn't anywhere near as famous. I mean, he was famous, but not on the level it became. So it's a hard question to answer. Or in school, when I was little, in elementary school, it was super annoying when somebody in the front row in front of me would turn around and go, "Hey, you probably live in and I think from seeing pictures of the White House or something, they go, you probably live in a big white house with a long driveway and a big lawn. And I'm like, no, it's brown and we're out in the country. And I don't know, our driveway kind of goes uphill and to the right. So, but it was that vision. But I think as a small child, people would see pictures of the White House. So they think that they probably think anybody that's well known lives in a house that looks like it. Yet my daughter's friend and I were in Washington, D.C., and I just remember the kid holding on the railings and stepping up and looking through the fence at the White House and looking back at her mom. And they lived in a really big house in Santa Barbara, and said, "It's so small."
That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter and I looked at each other like, oh, that's a problem. So anyway, it was funny. We were laughing. But hopefully the people who that's about aren't watching this show. So.
Well, I have a question more on the technical side. I don't know how much of this you would know, but like today, if you're an artist and you're going to do a cartoon or a comic strip, you can just kind of do it all at home on the computer, use an iPad and draw it, and then just put it out there on the internet. What was the process to go from hand-drawn comic to being printed in thousands of newspapers every single day? So once it was made and he has this hard copy of this comic, where did it go? What happened? Like, what was, did he mail it? What?
Yeah, it was very old school. He would have, for the dailies, the 4 panels, cardboard, I don't know how big it was, maybe that big. If I go any further, my hands go off screen. But he would draw it all, and then write in the balloons the text, which was hard to read because he knew what he had written. And then he would fill it in with the ink pen, with the dipping ink pen. And then once it dried, he would hand it off to his secretary, and then they would erase all the pencil. And then those would be packaged up, and they had to be out, I think, at least 2 weeks ahead of time. They would go to New York to United Feature Syndicate, and then they were, whatever they do, I don't know their printing newspaper process, I assume.
Right.
Same machines.
But it was actually these big canvases. Basically, every day was mailed. Manually and packed up and shipped.
It felt like the same, but a little bit not quite as stiff. When you go to Staples or any type of store for a school project, and you get like poster board.
Yeah.
But the thinner, it was kind of like that, but it came in the size with the pre-printed squares. I don't know how we got it like that. I probably should have asked, but I never did. And then on Sundays, there was bigger one that had, all the squares for a Sunday page. So the same thing, except he would have all the colored pencils, and he would give it to the secretary and tell them what colors to use to color it in properly. And then that would go off, and that had to go out. Who knows? I might be remembering incorrectly, but it was something much longer. It was like about 7 weeks ahead of time to get that one out. But he had to stay ahead all the time. Like he was never late getting it there.
Yeah, it couldn't take a day. It would be really hard to take a day off, because then you have to do 2 in a day or something like that.
Yeah, and he always did several. Like, how sometimes there's a theme that might go on for 5 days or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Sometimes his desk, he'd be on a roll, almost like a TV series. You're going, you film a whole bunch of them, of episodes for series 1. He was kind of like that. He would get a bunch drawn. And then other times, maybe it's just a couple if they were standalones and they weren't really part of a series of a story.
I didn't write any questions down, just so you guys know. None of this is all unplanned. But I just all of a sudden thought of The Girl in the Red Truck.
Oh gosh.
1988, CBS. Was it CBS? 1988?
Probably, yes.
Probably. So this was a big. This had to have been a big deal for you to do it. You were on national television. What was that like? What was that like for you? Because you're still a small human at that time.
No, I wasn't.
Well, I mean, you were younger. Yeah, you were what, 20s something.
I was probably late 20s, early 30s. I'm not sure.
But it was like,
I just looked young. Yeah.
What was that? What was that like? What was that? Was it scary? Were you nervous, or were you loving it, or?
It was fun. It was a good experience. I don't know. In hindsight, if I had wanted to continue going down the path with the acting that I was pursuing at the time, then I got sidetracked dancing and rollerblade. But I don't know if it was the best idea to have the first thing that goes out, aside from TV commercials and a few small parts, like on Simon and Simon. I had a very short part.
Are you joking? Is that for real?
Yeah.
You had a small part on Simon and Simon?
You didn't know that when you made the Simon and Simon reference?
No, that had nothing. I had no idea.
But it only ended up in the opening credits.
That was super random. That is that's one for the this is going to go in the best of collection of the podcast.
It was a day player part, really short. But it was fun. It was exciting, but I mean, in hindsight, it's kind of like now with our company, yes, we do Snoopy ice shows, but my All Will Sports, which has absolutely nothing to do with the Peanuts characters, is a more rewarding accomplishment for myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, this is maybe more of a serious question, but when you, especially growing up in Northern California, and then you come down to LA and you do this production, and you're kind of thrown into the world of Hollywood. Now that you're, some time has passed, what's your take on Hollywood and just the whole system and the entertainment world? I mean, just kind of what your reaction was to how the whole thing works in LA and Hollywood.
Well, I had been down there already for a while. I had already immersed myself in commercials and dance and acting classes and comedy improv, which is my absolute favorite thing to do.
Oh, fantastic.
I did a little bit of Second City and Harvey Lembeck down there, which I love.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't new to me, and kind of saw it for what it was, which is all the cliches about what it is are pretty true. So there's that Hollywood, unless you're asking me of Hollywood now, which is, wouldn't even know where to start. But the thing I don't like in following the industry is, because I love the good things about the industry, but seeing what happens to all the child actors, or seeing what's happened to the musicians that became famous so fast, so young, that I think is a little bit, it's just disturbing to see what happens with that. That being said, I mean, you could probably find good and bad things about almost any industry, but I think anybody going into it has to understand that there's a whole market in Hollywood that exists just to take advantage of young people that are new to the business and new to the town.
Yeah.
I remember people telling me that when I was there. There is an entire industry that makes their money off of promising to make someone a famous model, a famous actor, a famous actress, musician, all of that. So I think, it's kind of like reality shows. If someone's going to go on, they have to understand they're a production. I mean, not like you're out on an island all by yourself. Well, aside from the movie crew, the caterers, the makeup person, the producer, so I guess that's my take, but I'm no expert. That's just my own personal take. But I think it's fun. So I would say the sides that aren't good, it's unfortunate for the artistic side of people that really enjoy being a part of it. I think if I could do it over again, I would want to work on the production side or be a dancer instead of a skater. Those are my two things. You know how we all have something if we could do it again.
Yeah, I really think.
Yeah.
You've always made me laugh, and I it's interesting. I think I may have known about the Second City and the comedy stuff.
I could do a whole show asking questions about Second City and improv.
Yeah,
That's like
these guys love comedy. I mean, comedy, it's funny.
I do too. It's my favorite thing.
I'm
surprised. Did you stand up? Yeah.
Did you perform when you were at Second City? Was there anyone notable that you were on stage with?
Besides you.
Yeah,
I only got to
specifically somebody that went to Saturday Night Live or went on.
No, because I think most of those were out of Chicago, and I only participated in Second Cities, and then every Monday night they had open the doors. It was the old Mayfair Theater, which is now near the Promenade, which is now closed. Well, the Mayfair and the Promenade at this point, probably. But I would, on Monday nights, it would be invite the public in. So I wasn't actually in Second City, but I was studying with Second City instructors, but they weren't the famous ones. Harvey Limbeck had a lot of industry people. Remember the show Coach? I don't know if you remember that TV show Coach. The two writers, I don't know if they were producers too, but I know they were the writers, were taking the class because it inspired them. And I made friends with them, and they were in the class with me. So that's someone I can remember that I took classes. There was probably some other people I just didn't know, who went on and you'd know who they were, but I didn't, I'm not one of those people that really, you could introduce me to somebody famous and I won't recognize them. I'm one of those people. Yeah. So, but I do love comedy. If I were to have a second chance to do acting, I would want to have worked harder to hopefully, get on sitcoms and things like that. So I'm terrible at drama though. You can't. Yeah. I'm not good at that. So.
But you did go into production, and you've had a production company for a long time, and you've always had a real good creative sense from choreography to design to sound to music supervision and all the rest. Talk about a little bit about, these last 20 years or so that you've done that.
Yeah, it's been, I think almost over 20 since we were working together. And this is going to age you with me, right?
That's okay. Everyone knows now.
Yeah. But
everyone knows I'm not 22 anymore.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get over the shock of that. But yeah, so in working for Rollerblade and performing and other things before that, I wanted to stay in the business. So I had this idea to start live stage shows with skateboarders. And, we had Tony Hawk and Matt Hoffman and, Danny Way. We had all those guys in the early days, what later turned into superstars of X Games. In our first show, Shon worked with us on the music and video, and everybody told me it was a terrible idea, that I was ruining their sport. Now they all do it. Tony Hawk had a recent podcast where he actually gave us a shout out, and he said that he got the idea for Boom Boom Huck Jam from our All Will Sports show. So anyway, so we started doing them. I had a relationship with Knott's Berry Farm. The entertainment director let us give our first try there. It was only rollerblades, which is why All Will Sports was a good name at the time. But then we've just been growing for 20 years. So we do all the different Cedar Fair, now Six Flags, and we've done Universal, a few things at Disney, Legoland recently. So we focus our productions on live stage shows in and out of theme parks. But every now and then, corporate industrial, special event. We've done Super Bowl halftime show, things like that. So, yeah.
No big deal.
No, I like how you just brushed over that last one.
Super Bowl halftime show. Yeah, no big deal.
Well, yeah, that one, I think I was still with Rollerblade, and I was working with the director, Marilyn Magnus, who's very well known. She's been around forever. Comes from Disney originally. She's known as the parade lady because she's designed and directed like hundreds of parades for Disney and now other theme parks. But we were having dinner after the 50th anniversary at Kings Island. She was directing the show when All Will Sports was in it, and I've worked with her on several occasions. And she said, I remember the first time I met you, Jill, it was at the Super Bowl in Minnesota. I'm like, I forgot about that. And I didn't remember we did that. And sure enough, she pulls up video and I'm in it about 3 seconds. Kind of like
That's
Simon
when
and
you
Simon.
know you've had an interesting life, when you forget that you're in the Super Bowl.
I know. Yeah, and I'm not even a football person. So.
I love that.
You look like a linebacker, though. Just.
Oh yeah. I hide it well, right? Yeah.
Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, so what's the show that you guys have on right now going?
Right now, we actually open in September. It's called Nightwalkers, and it's a live stage show. It runs for 2 months. It's got acrobatic, trample zombies, BMX, scooter, inline dancers, and a storyline of the boyfriend, girlfriend who come running in, and the girlfriend gets kidnapped, and the boyfriend's trying to fight off the zombies, and they keep missing each other. She comes back, kind of a loose take on Grease, how she's all cute and clean cut cheerleader, but this time and then
Grease meets Walking Dead.
Exactly, yeah. Grease
that's
meets
awesome.
Walking Dead meets like Night of Living Zombies, or no, it was Night of Living Dead. That's right. I don't know where the zombie came from, but because everybody uses the word zombie. But anyway, and then we use music from popular music, some K-pop, which your wife would like, Jason. We use that. We use a lot of, in Ohio, they really like rock. So we use things from Ghost and Metallica and Sound of Silence and things like that. So, yeah, it's fun. It's my favorite show that we do. And then it's fun finding the different video clips and putting a jump scare at the end. Thriller at the end. You always have to use Thriller for the finale dial. So, yeah.
So if people want to go see it in September, where do they have to go?
Pretty far, unless they live in Ohio. It's in Mason, Ohio. Cincinnati would be the nearest big city at the Kings Island theme park in Ohio. We are hoping someday to bring it out to California to Knott's Berry Farm. So that is what I really want to do, because I know, or even Magic Mountain, I know the California crowd would love it here. So, I mean, we created it in the Bay Area. I worked with this guy named, a client named Clayton Lawrence, who let us create so many different shows. He would just give me the general direction of a theme, and then we would create the show, and he would bounce in and out because he was running the whole theme park. He's now with corporate, and he's working on making the rest of the park look cool roller coasters, cool design of areas and things like that. I don't know how to describe exactly what he does, but I like to thank him for giving me the opportunities to go out of the box and create all these crazy different things, so.
It's pretty cool being just working with theme parks, at least, isn't it? Just like kind of traveling around and it's like you're in this other world.
It is. It's fun. And it's like, I always thought, like, when you walk through a theme park, they always have music playing. And it always puts you in a mood as soon as you start walking through the theme park. I mean, they do it at malls too, but the music's not quite as good, because theme parks, it's all like current popular things. And I'm thinking, what if we had a soundtrack to our own lives wherever we walked around? And we could make our own playlist, Of course, if you're walking with your wife, you would have to compromise, because she'd have K-pop, and I don't know, what would you have on?
Jason's warming up the K-pop.
Japanese baby metal. We'd have to bring it together somehow.
But yes, theme parks are fun. I don't go on roller coasters anymore. I'm kind of chicken, but they're just fun. It's fun to the people there, and the people that buy season passes, at least the Cedar Fair, now Six Flags, I have to call it. It's their life in some of these towns. And some of them, they'll get a pass, and their whole summer as they travel around. It used to be at all 12 or 15 theme parks. Now to hit them all, it's going to be like almost 40 that the company owns. But it becomes like their second home. And they have their group chats, and they're just we call them the super fans too, that come to our show, and they're so invested. And we do meet and greets, and everybody gets to meet our performers and take pictures, and then they share them with our social media manager, and it's just a good way. I know sometimes people go, oh no, we got to go backstage, we can't meet people, but it means so much to the fans. So I like that too about our shows. It's fun. I just like it. It's fun. Basically at this point, we've been doing it for so long. That's the main. I like the creative outlet, and the people and the athletes I work with are super fun. I like working with like younger, crazy people. I mean, they're not crazy, but athletic crazy,
Good crazy.
Yeah. And new people that are coming up in each type of sport. It's just fun. So I don't know. It keeps me busy. So
that's really amazing. Hey, did you get to hear Jason's trivia question?
I did.
Did you have a guess as to the answer?
Oh, I have two. I don't know which one to pick. I'm going to go with. Can I say both of them?
Yes.
The season finale of Friends or Seinfeld?
Those are really good guesses, but neither of them surpassed I Love Lucy.
Okay, what about this one?
Victor got one of the two.
That's
Who
my
shot
guess.
JR? It was the season return of Dallas. It surpassed I Love Lucy, and then the season finale of MASH surpassed I Love Lucy.
Seriously.
And then there's one more that surpassed it, and it's a clip that everyone has probably seen, and it is the Ed Sullivan Show when they had the Beatles on. So those are the only 3 times that Lucille Ball having a baby on TV was surpassed on television.
What was the total amount of viewers for the Lucille Ball? Do you know?
The total amount of viewers was 44 million viewers. 72% of all U.S. TVs were on that channel during that episode. So
I learned a lot once again.
Yeah. So one third of all of them, because not everyone had a TV at that point, but 33% of Americans watched that TV show together.
Some people didn't even have electricity back then.
Yeah,
not long ago.
It's true. It's true. They just sat under their newly running water.
They were still slicing their bread. Hey, Jill,
they were testing out their flush toilets.
I promised a couple of our producer creators that I would ask you a couple questions. So I know we only have time for probably a couple. So I'm going to make sure I do that, if that's okay.
Sure.
Because we have more business to do. So this one comes from one of our favorite animators, Tim Engel. He is a rock star. So here's Tim's question. Did you ever see your dad struggle to balance his own creative goals with other people's expectations? For example, did he allow others to influence characters and story arcs? And what were positive and negative results of that? Is that something you know the answer to?
Yes, I do know. He never allowed anybody to be involved because he just lived to draw the strip, and he didn't want input from anybody else, didn't want help from anybody else, and so basically none of that. What was the second half of the part? Or did I not answer the whole question?
I guess, yeah, and what were the positive and negative results of that? but
because it didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Much. Yeah. No, he was just obviously now, and since he's passed away for a long time since, my brother and his son and his son's business partner write the Apple TV Peanuts shows, and I think they have a new Peanuts musical out, and things like that. But the comic strip itself was never influenced, touched. Nobody else could give him an idea. He would get inspired by things, eating breakfast at the ice rink when like everyone was skating. He would, then did ice skating themed TV shows or comic strips, or the motocross theme, because my brother did motocross. So there were things, he was just an observer of life, and if there's things he thought that gave him an idea to put in the strip, he would use it. Basically.
I remember him being really quiet. He didn't say a lot, at least when I would see him at the rink. Was he different with the family when you guys were at home? Was he more talkative than he was in public?
Not really. I mean, I wouldn't say he's quiet in a non-talkative way, but he's not someone. I remember he said to me once, because sometimes somebody, I don't know who would be, people that he kind of knew, or maybe he didn't know them that well, whatever, would sit down at this table. He always ate breakfast at the same table. And he would start asking questions, which I thought were like questions he would ask. I don't remember what they were, but, just really get into conversations, even though he didn't know anything about that person. And he goes, I don't like just having too many people just have like small talk. He goes, I like to have a real conversation. So yeah, I mean, he wasn't not talkative, but he wasn't real talkative. He read a lot of books. He always, if he's watching TV on the nightstand or on the side table, he'd always have like 4 books going at one time. So,
was he into music?
He didn't, to my knowledge, he didn't play any music, but he liked music, obviously. I think maybe more classical. That's all I can remember, but I wonder if that's because my mom liked classical. She liked classical, and I remember her taking piano lessons. So, yeah. So I don't remember that much about him with music. I know Monty does. He fancies himself a songwriter too. He's done some. I shouldn't say that, but he's really into it. It's not his main thing. His main thing is writing, but he also writes songs. So,
yeah.
But no, I don't remember my dad anything music-wise, but if you ask my brother or sister, they'll probably say something completely different from me. I don't know on that one. Not that I remember. That doesn't mean he wasn't.
I know you like music. I remember.
I do.
I remember you really liked ABBA. I don't know if you still like ABBA.
Oh, I do, and I've seen Mamma Mia about 7 times. So yeah,
I like
ABBA. Yeah, I like musical theater music. I pretty much like every kind of music, except for some reason I don't like jazz. I don't know. What kind of music do you like?
I'm right there with you. But speaking of music, because I realize I look at the time before we finish our episode with our great in-house band, who's going to do the genre that actually I think you picked out for us. Jill, you want to tee up what the genre is going to be here today?
I can say what it is.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Okay. It's K-pop grunge.
K-pop grunge.
And
so,
I love it. Before we play it,
song.
And before we play it, Jill, is there anything that you want to say or anything you want to plug or anything that you would want to finish with?
No, just it was great to be on here talking with you. And now I got to come and watch all your shows for sure.
I know.
Yeah.
You do. It's
great to have you.
Thank you for the opportunity. This was fun.
Yeah, it was really great to have you, Jill. And this song written by our band is Peanuts Apocalypse.
I like
Snoopy's
it.
got a leather jacket on. Charlie Brown's gone. He's riding at dawn. Jill's rolling fast.
All right, guys, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the FolkLOOR podcast. We really appreciate having you. Jill, thank you so much for coming on and inspiring younger filmmakers. And yeah, we will.